We're moving in next week, my mother-in-law Eleanor announced at Christmas dinner, carving into her turkey with the same casual brutality she used to dissect my life choices. Your guest room is perfect for us, and Richard's retirement means we can finally be one big happy family. I looked at my husband Michael, who stood up slowly, his wine glass trembling slightly in his hand, and delivered the words that turned our elegant dining room into ground zero. That's interesting, because we sold the house yesterday. The silence that followed was so complete I could hear the grandfather clock in the hallway counting down the seconds until detonation. Eleanor's fork hovered midway to her mouth, gravy dripping onto her festive sweater. The one with the embroidered reindeer that said Grandma's house, Grandma's rules. My father-in-law Richard's face went through several shades of purple before settling on an alarming burgundy that clashed with the holiday decorations. What did you just say? Eleanor's voice came out as a whisper, which was somehow more terrifying than her usual foghorn volume. Michael set down his glass with deliberate precision. We sold the house. Closed yesterday at 4 p.m. The new owners take possession January 15th. Michael Andrew Davidson. Eleanor rose from her chair like a kraken emerging from the deep. You sold your house without telling your parents. Our house, I corrected quietly, though my heart was hammering. We sold our house. Eleanor's laser focus swiveled to me. You. This is your doing, isn't it, Nora? You've always wanted to separate my son from his family. Actually, Michael said, his voice steady as granite, it was my idea. And before you launch into your usual tirade about Nora corrupting me, you should know why we sold it. Richard finally found his voice. Son, what's going on? Is this about money? You know we would have helped. It's not about money. Michael pulled out his phone, scrolling to something. It's about boundaries and respect. And the 47 times you violated both in the last year alone. 47. Eleanor sputtered. You're counting? No, our security system is counting. He turned the phone screen toward them. Every time you used the emergency key to let yourself in. Every time you surprised us by redecorating. Every time you threw away Nora's belongings because they didn't match your vision for our home. Those throw pillows were hideous, Eleanor defended. And that painting in the hallway was from our honeymoon, I interrupted. Painted by a local artist in Santorini. But you wouldn't know that because you never asked before you donated it to Goodwill. You were at work. I was trying to help. By replacing our bedroom furniture? Michael's voice rose for the first time. By telling the neighbors Nora couldn't keep house properly? By scheduling contractors to renovate our kitchen without asking. My sister-in-law Patricia, who'd been silent until now, nervously cleared her throat. Mom, you did renovate their kitchen. It needed updating. That backsplash was from the Stone Age. It was from 2019, I said flatly. We'd just finished paying for it. And that's not even the worst part, Michael continued. Show them what happened last month, Nora. I pulled out my own phone, hands shaking slightly as I found the video. Our doorbell camera had captured everything. Eleanor leading a parade of her book club ladies through our house while we were at work, giving them the grand tour and explaining how she planned to fix everything once she moved in. This is the office, Eleanor's recorded voice chirped. Of course, it'll become Richard's den. Nora doesn't really need a home office. She can work at the kitchen table like a normal person. The real Eleanor had gone pale. You were recording me? The security system was recording, Michael corrected. The same system that caught you telling the contractor that we'd approved removing the wall between the kitchen and living room. The same system that recorded you measuring our bedroom for your furniture because, quote, they can sleep in the guest room. I never said that. Would you like me to play that recording too? I asked sweetly. Richard held up a hand. Enough. Eleanor, is this true? I was planning ahead. They have all this space. That we pay for, Michael interrupted. In the house we bought. With the jobs you constantly belittle. I don't belittle. Nora's just playing career woman until babies come along, Michael quoted. My son could have married someone who knows their priorities. Thank God I'm here to help when the grandchildren arrive. Well, it's true. Eleanor exploded. You're 34, Michael. When am I getting grandchildren? Never, if it means you living in our house, he said calmly. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Eleanor's mouth opened and closed several times before she managed. You don't mean that. I absolutely do. Michael reached for my hand. We've been trying for 2 years. 2 years of fertility treatments, specialists, and heartbreak. And you know what didn't help? Coming home to find you'd converted the room we'd hoped would be a nursery into a craft room for yourself. Because you'd need somewhere for your hobbies when you lived here. I squeezed his hand, remembering that awful day. The soft yellow walls we'd painted together gone. The rocking chair my mother had given us moved to the garage. Everything erased as if our dreams meant nothing. I didn't know, Eleanor whispered. Because you never asked, Michael said. You just assumed. Just like you assumed we'd welcome you moving in without any discussion. Just like you assumed our home was yours to redesign. Just like you assumed Nora was the problem when I stopped answering your calls. Where will you go? Richard asked quietly. If you've sold the house. We bought a condo, I said. In a building with excellent security. No spare keys. No guest room. Doorman who checks IDs. The works. You bought a condo to get away from us? Eleanor's voice broke. We bought a condo to save our marriage, Michael said bluntly. Do you know how many fights we've had about you? How many times Nora has cried because you criticized her cooking in her own kitchen? How many holidays have been ruined by your helpful suggestions? If she can't handle constructive criticism. It's not constructive when you remake her grandmother's stuffing recipe because it's too ethnic, Patricia said suddenly. Everyone turned to stare at her. What? We all think it, but Michael's the only one brave enough to say it. Mom, you're exhausting. Patricia Marie. She's right, my brother-in-law James added. Remember when you tried to move in with us? Showed up with a moving truck? We had to change our locks too. That was different. You had just had the baby. And you wanted to raise her your way, James's wife Linda cut in. You threw out my breast milk because formula was more convenient. You rearranged the nursery while I was sleeping. You told the pediatrician I had postpartum depression because I asked you to leave. I see. Eleanor's voice had gone cold. I see how it is. My own children, conspiring against me. Choosing their spouses over their mother. Choosing our sanity, Michael corrected. Choosing our marriages. Choosing to be adults instead of permanent children under your control. Richard. Eleanor turned to her husband. Are you going to let them speak to me this way? Richard was staring at his plate. Eleanor, they're not wrong. We discussed this. The kids need space. You promised you'd respect boundaries. Boundaries? She whirled on him. Boundaries? I carried these ungrateful children for 9 months each. I sacrificed everything. No one asked you to sacrifice anything, Michael said quietly. We asked you to call before visiting. To respect our choices. To treat our spouses like family instead of interlopers. That's all. And now you're abandoning us, Eleanor sniffed. Selling your house just to get away from your mother. What will people think? Hopefully, they'll think we're adults who make our own decisions, I said. But honestly, Eleanor, I don't care what they think. I care that I can come home without finding my closet reorganized. I care that I can cook dinner without you hovering and criticizing. I care that my husband and I can have privacy in our own home. Privacy to do what? She sneered. Obviously not making grandchildren. The cruelty of it took my breath away. Michael stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. We're done. Mom, Dad, you need to leave. Michael. Now. His voice was steel. Get your coats and go. And don't bother calling until you're ready to apologize to my wife. Apologize? For what? Telling the truth. For being cruel about our fertility struggles. For trying to steamroll our lives. For treating Nora like an interloper in her own home. For all of it. He moved to the door, holding it open. Go. Please. Eleanor gathered her dignity like armor. Fine. But don't come crawling back when you need us. When you realize family is more important than your precious boundaries. Family respects each other, Michael said. What you do isn't love, Mom. It's control. And we're done being controlled. They left in a flurry of muttered complaints and slammed doors. Patricia lingered, giving me a quick hug. I'm proud of you both, she whispered. Maybe now the rest of us can find our spines too. After they gone, Michael and I stood in our dining room, soon to be someone else's dining room, surrounded by the ruins of Christmas dinner. The turkey sat cooling, the carefully prepared sides untouched. I'm sorry, he said quietly. About what she said. About the baby stuff. It's not your fault. I leaned against him. You were amazing. I can't believe you actually told them about the house. I couldn't let her announce moving in like it was a done deal. Like our lives were just extensions of hers. He pulled me closer. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. And I was. I'm free. We're free. The condo doesn't really have a doorman, he admitted. I might have exaggerated. But it doesn't have a guest room? Studio apartment above us. Completely separate entrance. No spare keys. He grinned. And the building has a no subletting clause. She can't even rent it to get closer. You're brilliant. I learned from the best. He kissed my forehead. Want to order Chinese food and eat it straight from the containers? Really scandalize her? Only if we can use the good china she bought us. The stuff we're saving for special occasions. Deal. As we cleaned up the abandoned dinner, my phone buzzed. A text from Linda. James and I are listing our house tomorrow. Patricia's looking at apartments. You started a revolution. Thank you. I showed Michael, who laughed. Think Mom will figure out she's the common denominator? Probably not. But that's not our problem anymore. No, he agreed. Our only problem now is packing. And deciding which of her gifts accidentally don't make the move. All of them. Every last doily and decorative rooster. We laughed, and it felt like breathing after being underwater. The house we'd sold had been beautiful, but it had never truly been ours. Not with Eleanor's fingerprints on every surface, her opinions soaked into every wall. But our new place? That would be different. Smaller, yes. No guest room, definitely. But it would be ours in a way this house never could be. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is distance. And sometimes the best Christmas present is the truth, served with a side of boundaries and a perfectly timed real estate closing. The turkey wasn't the only thing that dropped that day. So did the facade, the pretense, and the suffocating weight of Eleanor's expectations. And honestly, it was the best Christmas dinner we never ate.